Hello there guys, my name is Mr. Yorkies World. Welcome back to the channel and apologies in advance, I have a terrible throat infection or something of that kind. It's always fun when you've got something like that and you try and do a video, but it's been a while since I produced a video, so I thought why not. So, this review is going to be of Global Buildings HD by Orbx. My friends over at flightsim.com have been extremely generous in giving me a copy of this, so I really do appreciate it. It sells for $34.95 in, I think that's Australian dollars, which is 21.46 euros or £18 and 36 pence at the time of making this video, which is the 21st of November 2019. So let's get straight into it, and I'm really excited to see what this particular product can bring to the channel and to the simulator. Now, one thing I probably should mention is that my building density is extremely dense for the purpose of this video. So this is some footage I took at Gatwick, which is just the default buildings, and as you can see, we're looking at some very blurry textures around those buildings. You can't even make out the individual components of a door or a window, so it is pretty much just your bog standard textures, which have been thrown over a 3D model in something which doesn't look really appealing, to be honest. Apologies about the camera movement, but it's like this little electrical box sort of thing. Look at that, you can't even make out any details about it. And here we are near 26 left, runway 26 left, and you can see that this particular, I don't even know what sort of building this is, but it looks like a shop with maybe like a balcony above it, and you can't really see what's going on. A lot of repeated textures as well, which is what we see here, and it definitely looks like a little balcony there above what looks like a shop, which is not really realistic. You can see the windows and the doors and everything. You can't make anything out. It's very pixelated. And this is obviously, the settings I have, the graphics settings are on ultra as well. So it definitely isn't what I would expect from a decent simulator, really. But then again, we are talking about old technology. I mean, look at that, the door there and the window. That was just absolutely terrible. And if we look at some buildings to the on the outskirts here of the airport, these are some houses, and you can just see, I mean, the windows there, you can see the door, which sort of, I don't know, it just sort of all blends into one, really. You can't really make out much detail at all, in my opinion. There's a telephone box there, which that appears to be the only HD thing, or near enough HD thing that I can see, which is a bit of a shame. And if we take a look over here again, you can see the house. It looks okay, the roof part, but then you look down at all the windows and the doors or anything, they don't really look good at all. It's definitely not something that you would look at and think, wow. Moving on now, this is Princess Juliana Airport, or TNCM, Tango November Charlie Mike. Again, default scenery. Some houses there which are absolutely atrocious. Definitely don't look very good at all. And you'll see when I pan to the left in a minute, there we go, that big building there that we'll have a closer look at in a few seconds. It's just not HD at all. Another house, again, everything's very generic. It doesn't really stand out. Very pixelated. What more can I say? And some houses in the distance here. Apologies about the camera shaking. I did actually manage to solve that after recording this video, or recording this footage. It's a problem with Chase Plane, with the camera effects. But you can just see everything's very generic, everything's repeated a hell of a lot. And it just doesn't look very good at all. I mean, look at that. You can't. It's basically a chimney and then another chimney on a corner. Everything's copied, and it just looks really nasty. So now we're actually going to move on to what things look like in TNCM in HD. And as you can see, it's a lot different. I'm zooming in. I'm actually quite a distance away, but I'm zooming in, and you can see very fine detail. Obviously, when you zoom in, it's going to be a little bit pixelated, but we've got some people, we've got some shops, we've got some signs that you can read. Everything looks quite crisp compared to what it did look like. It's an absolute Godsend. You can see this building here, it's got some detail on it. You can clearly make out the windows, you can clearly make out the doors, and whether the windows are open or closed, for example. And you don't really see a lot of copied textures, which is something which is very important. Maybe the roofs are, but the actual buildings themselves are not too bad. Again, not much copying, so each surface of the house is different, so you've not got textures copied from one side of the house to the other. It looks quite unique. And if we look at those houses over the distance, over the water there, they look completely different as well. I mean, there's a few copied ones, but I mean, look at this. Zooming in, you can really see, again, I do apologise about the shaky camera, but you can really see the detail that Orbx have put into this to make everything, look really good and stand out. This big building here, again, really detailed. You can really make stuff out. I think at this point in the video, this is when I was actually changing the settings in Chase Plane to try and get a better sort of camera, because at the moment it's shaking around. There we go. That's when I sorted it. So now you can see things a lot easier when we zoom in and leave it there. But look at the amount of detail that we can see. It really is impressive. So what you're actually going to see next is some footage from Gatwick, and I decided to put this in because I wanted two individual airports. You can see the Tesco sign there. Now this, if you don't know what Tesco's is, it's a shopping centre or just like a shop that we have in the United Kingdom. You can zoom in. I mean, look at that. It says auto print labelling systems. You can actually read what it says on the signs. Again, when you zoom in, it's a little bit pixelated, but nothing compared to what it was. You've even got either that's either a painting of a person or it's an actual person. I have no idea. Obviously in 2D. We zoom in again, and we can see even in the surrounding areas around the airport, we've still got some pretty nice textures now. This in particular, the brickwork, you can really make out some detail in the brickwork, which I found to be really nice. The windows, they're sort of repeated, but you're not really going to notice that from a distance when you're taxiing around the airport. I mean, look at the roof tiles. That's impressive as well. Everything's a lot more crisp, a lot more clear. And overall, I think that this particular product is absolutely fantastic. Again, this is a little bit of an issue because we have got repeated textures here on individual sides of the building, which is a bit of a shame, but again, I don't think you're really going to notice that very much when it comes to actually taxiing around. Now this is one of my favourite parts, the outskirts of Gatwick. Again, we're looking at the houses. Look how different these houses look now compared to what they did. I mean, this is just, it's as if it's something out of a picture, if I can even get my words out. It really is nice. Clearly you can make out the doors, you can make out the detail on the doors, you can make out the windows. You've even got some nice sort of plant pots hanging from just above the door. Everything looks absolutely fantastic. Each building has got its own level of detail, which really helps to make it. I mean, look at that. We zoom in, you can see the blinds, you can see the security alarm there to the right hand side. It really looks good. And look at that, absolutely fantastic. That looks like a house very close to ours, in fact. It's as if I'm sat there looking at a picture of an actual house. And this is what I found to be really interesting as well. So we've got Waker Newson, or whatever that says, sort of like a garage it looks like. And if we zoom in, it says Medlock Electronic or Electrical Distributors Sales Centre. You can really zoom in and you can really see a lot of detail that has gone into these buildings. So, overall, I would definitely give this, it's got to be at least a 9 out of 10. And the reason that I'm knocking a point off is purely and simply because some textures are repeated. Whether or not that can be helped, I have no idea. But nevertheless, I am extremely impressed. I would definitely recommend this product from Orbx. Again, it's a nice cheap price as well. It's not too expensive and well worth the money in my opinion. Now, in terms of performance, there's no performance impact whatsoever. That is literally as simple as it gets. I did manage to get some footage sort of flying around the airport, and I'm not sure what's happened to that, but I didn't notice any difference whatsoever. in terms of performance. I still managed to get a very, very decent FPS. Obviously, the footage that you saw in the simulator there, that was me with extremely dense, like the maximum scenery complexity, or how many buildings I had, I can't remember. And there was virtually no impact on performance versus the default scenery. So definitely worth a buy. So as ever, with all my reviews, I will leave a link down in the description to this product where you can go and buy it. Again, I was very lucky. My friends over at flightsim.com provided this to me free of charge for review purposes, and I am so glad that I managed to pick it up. So yes, I would highly recommend it. So anyways, guys, I will leave all the links in the description for everything, as always, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one, and bye for now.